Greetings, guys, gals, non-binary pals, and welcome back to another video. I hope that you are well, and I hope that you are fighting, because there's a lot to be fighting for, and that includes yourself. I don't often mention that, but every now and then I like to remind you that you are something worth fighting for. So recently I decided to log into Facebook for the first time in over a year. I don't know why. I can't remember why I needed to go on Facebook. It's usually because I want to find like an old photo from like 2014. But anyway, when I opened it, I was greeted by the fact that people I know and went to school with are like doing stuff, like they have their lives together, and it was really strange to see. Like, I kid you not, I clicked on the Facebook app and the first thing I saw is someone I went to uni with bought a house. And then the next post is someone I went to school with got married. And then the one after that, someone I went to school with is building their own house. The one after that, someone had a baby. And then someone else is pregnant. Someone else bought a house. And someone else got eloped. In that order, I'm genuinely serious. There was like one like meme from someone in between those posts. But other than that, that was what I opened Facebook to. And I sat there like, how? What's going on? How am I old? I'm 22. I was shocked and confused because how are you planning like your entire life right now when I don't even know what I'm gonna do tomorrow, you know? Like, I'm currently living in my auntie's house in London trying to find a flat to live in for like a year because I don't know what I'm gonna be doing in a year and where I want to be. And then there's people having kids and buying house. I don't get it. Anyway, logging into Facebook is always a time because it's not only people you went to school with reminding you that you don't know what you're doing with your life, but it's also your like conservative auntie who you never see and try to avoid at all costs, who thinks that gay marriage is bad, or your racist uncle, you know? Those are the two types of people on Facebook. People to make you feel bad and people that hate you. And so today I thought that we would go through some of the posts from the like aunties and uncles and just conservative people on Facebook because their memes are like next level, but like what the fuck? So that's what we're gonna be looking at today because I don't want to talk about people knowing what they're doing in life. So I'm going with the other side of Facebook. The side we all know and love. So let's look at some memes, shall we? So we'll start off with something that's very relevant at the moment, and that is people who worked 3 jobs to pay off their student loans, and then Joe Biden slapping them across the face. Because, you know, that makes sense. In case you were unaware, in the US, they're forgiving some student loans. I think you get like 10 grand off of your loan, which is an insanely huge amount of money. So it's fantastic that people don't have to pay that extra 10 grand, but also fucking ridiculous that you can take off 10 grand and still have a lot to pay. Like, university should not be that expensive. Anyway, so a lot of people, specifically older people, are for some reason like pissed about this. They're like, what about all those people who came out of college and they worked their asses off to pay back those loans? This is a slap in the face to them. They worked hard for nothing. You're saying they could have had 10 grand taken off. This generation is such snowflakes. They don't even know what hard work is. Like, my guy, you sound so stupid. You sound so stupid. Do you hear yourself? Like, giving someone something to help them now is better than not ever doing it, you know? Like, sure, those people could have used that 10 grand before, and unfortunately, they didn't get it. That sucks, and I'm really sorry to them. But that doesn't mean that people shouldn't be getting it now. That's the most insane logic ever. Especially because, like, it's interesting because the cost of living now is much more expensive. So people are paying way more in rent and for food and for everything else, and also being paid less because, you know, pay hasn't gone up, prices of things have gone up, student loans are also higher. So they're paying way, 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 way more than anyone before us have paid. So getting 10 grand back probably neutralizes it a little bit even, which is really sad that 10 grand basically like neutralizes it. But yeah, really cool that people are getting some money back on their student loans. Shit that they're that expensive in the first place. Don't ask why children need to see drag queens. Ask yourself why drag queens want an audience of children. Maybe because they want to teach children that it's okay to be different and it's okay to express yourself and be who you are. It's nice to teach children things like that. It's important for them to know that they can express themselves and do what they want to. They can dress how they want and live how they want as long as they aren't hurting other people. That's an important lesson to teach children. It's the same question as like, why do teachers want to be teachers? There's something real sus about people wanting to hang out with primary school students all the time. That seems really creepy. No, because people don't sexualize children. And the fact that you are implying that if you want to hang around with small children or you are around small children, you're sexualizing them, sounds like you're projecting. And that's something that you really need to work on, because when you think of small children and people spending time with small children, you shouldn't be thinking of the fact they'd be sexualizing them, because most people aren't. So if you're thinking that, problem. Alarm bells. This is the future leftist wants for our homes. Sex before marriage lounge, estrogen lab, trans bathroom, gay room, abortion closet, boy-wife kitchen, and weed smoking patio. You're so right. I'm actually searching for a flat right now. I'm looking for somewhere to live, and I haven't found anywhere yet. It's been really difficult. Finding places to live in London is really hard. But also, the other reason it's so hard is that I'm looking for something like this. Like, I want this exact layout with these exact rooms, and it's just really hard to come by, you know? Like, why aren't more places like this? I really need an abortion closet. You know, like if a flat doesn't have that, then really what's the point? If I don't have an estrogen lab, why would I live there? Due to public transport in Japan, men have to literally cram people into trains. Democrats want public transport so they can treat you like cattle. What? The reason we want public transport is because it makes transporting easier. It's better for the environment. It's more convenient, and it's just overall way better. I live in London, where public transport is the main way people get around, and pretty much everyone loves it. It doesn't matter where you stand politically, it is something that everyone uses and everyone finds useful and likes, because driving is a fucking bitch. There's traffic, and yeah, it's so annoying. Why would I drive if I could just like get on a train, you know? It's just so much more convenient. You don't have to look for a car park or anything. Brilliant. I come from a place where there is not very much public transport and I have to drive everywhere. And when I was visiting, sure, I like driving around sometimes, but I missed being able to just go places in a train. It's great. And sure, sometimes it's a little crammed and it's really hot and you can't breathe, whatever, but like, still prefer it. I still much prefer it to not having it at all. So get over it, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. I don't know if this is focused on my face. It seems like it is, but there's like a focus square over here for some reason. It's not even on anything. The trains are still optional, you know? If you really don't want to take public transport, you really don't have to. That is a choice that you can make yourself. I find it very helpful. I personally love public transport. I find it great, as do many other people. Your country is just strange and run by cars for whatever reason. I found it awful when I was there because I couldn't walk anywhere and I couldn't get public transport and I didn't have a car, so. The slippery slope starts with an interracial gay couple saying, "Let us get married," which goes to a gay couple saying, "Bake our cake." And then it's two people saying, "Use our pronouns," into "allow minors to dance for us in drag," and it ends with "let teachers choose your kid's gender," because that's obviously the gay agenda. That's what we really want, is we want teachers to choose children's gender. I'm gonna go back one, "allow minors to dance and drag," because why can't they? I'm confused. Are they not already allowed to? Why is this a bad thing? I don't quite understand why you're sexualizing drag and why you're sexualizing children. It's already a pretty normal thing for kids to get dressed up and dance. I loved playing dress up as a child. I loved dancing around as a child. With my friends, we would all put on ridiculous amounts of $2 shop makeup, which included like lipstick over my whole face and just like pink eyeshadow everywhere with like 10 beaded necklaces and my mom's heels, just dancing around. And I liked to shake my butt because I thought it was funny. Because when you're a kid, butts are funny. And guess what? There's nothing sexual about that. That's just kids having fun. That's just kids being kids. You should let your children dress up and do their makeup and wear their mom's heels or whatever and dance because they're children and nothing they do is sexual. And if you're sexualizing that, you need help because kids should be allowed to dress up how they want and dance, and there is nothing wrong with that. And people encouraging kids to do that isn't a problem. We should encourage kids to do that. You should encourage kids to dress how they want to and express themselves how they want to. And if people sexualize them, that's not the kid's fault. That is the fault of the adult who needs to then stay away from children. And believe it or not, drag queens aren't doing that. They're encouraging kids to dress up and dance because they want kids to be happy and to grow up knowing they can be who they want to be. That's literally it. You're the one making it weird. Here we have someone with like a bunch of like logos and brands and stuff behind them. There's like the pride flag, communism, books, MTV, quote saying believe in yourself, Instagram. I can't tell what most of these are because the quality of the image is really bad. It's got, what does that say, Scorpio? And just a bunch of things that are like implying, you know, like wokeness, effectively. And they're saying they brainwashed you to a person who only has one thing, which is the cross. And they're like, really? Really? They brainwashed me? You're saying they brainwashed me. Are you, who has many different things they believe in and get information from, are saying I, someone who believes in one thing and gets all my information from one thing, am brainwashed? I don't think this did what you wanted it to do. Because, believe it or not, if you're getting all of your information from one source and you're believing everything that tells you, that's literally what brainwashing is. That's actually what a cult is. So, yeah, you're not really doing yourself any favors here, and you're just proving the point that you're brainwashed into thinking everyone else is brainwashed. If I'm getting information from lots of places and I enjoy a lot of things and I live my life outside of the confines of a box that I've decided to put myself in, I have more life experience and I have a better understanding of the world around me than you. So yeah, you are the brainwashed one in this situation. You believe in one thing, you only do one thing, and you need to reflect because, my guy. Back to School in 1966 is just a kid on a bike and his mom smoking a cigarette and saying bye, and that's it. He's just got his backpack and he's off to school. School in 2022 is a kid with a backpack on with a cell phone, GPS, water, nut and gluten-free snacks, SPF 60, EpiPen, microchip, allergy alert, and a camera-equipped drone following him. I have a few questions. Why are half of these here? Are you saying that we should send kids with like severe allergies to school without the things they need to potentially save their lives? Cause do you know what an EpiPen is? Do you know what an allergy alert is? Are you trying to say that allergies are fake? I feel like people do believe that, right? Like people believe that we've like created allergies through our environment or whatever. I don't think that's the case. I don't know much about allergies. I am not someone with allergies, and I am aware that there are more people who have allergies now than there once was. And I don't know if that's got to do with genetic modification or our environment or whatever. I don't know, and I'm not going to claim to know. But why is it bad to take an EpiPen and an allergy alert to school if you're gonna like potentially die? And your gluten-free, nut-free snacks, whatever, again, better than dying. SPF 60, you know, because the sun can give you skin cancer. So sunscreen is a good thing to have, because I don't know if you know this, but people who were alive in the 60s and who were growing up at that time have a really high chance of skin cancer, especially where I grew up in New Zealand, where there is a hole in the ozone layer. You have a 30% chance of getting skin cancer. Every person I know over the age of 40 has had to have skin cancer removed. Like, sunscreen, very important. You should be wearing that. So, again, what's the problem? Cell phones are good because, you know, if you get lost or kidnapped or whatever, you have a way of contacting someone. GPS and like a camera drone, I will agree. Don't do that. Don't invade your child's privacy. None of your business. Let them contact you if they need to. But everything else, my guy, what's wrong with you? Kids need water to like survive. Everyone needs water. Water helps you focus. If I didn't have water at school, I would have passed out. So here we have a man asking a woman on a date. Want to go on a date? And she says, sure. And then outside we have what is depicted to be a trans woman saying, no, you have to date trans women. We're valid. We exist. We are indistinguishable. No one says this. No one says that. That's not a thing. Stop making shit up. You can date who you want to date. No one cares. Literally no one cares. Date a cis woman. Date a trans woman, date a cis man, date a trans man, date a non-binary person. Don't date anyone. Date 5 people at once as long as everyone agrees. It literally doesn't matter. No one cares. The problem, the thing that we constantly say, is that you can obviously reject a trans person. Obviously, you're not going to be attracted to every person you meet, right? That's totally valid. The problem is when you reject someone because they're trans. If you are completely attracted to someone, right? And then you find out they're trans and then you don't want to date them, that's where the problem lies. Especially if they've undergone medical transitioning or whatever. Like, it's this thing of people have genital preferences, and I can understand that, you know, I get it, I guess. But like, for people who have completely medically transitioned, you don't even really have that excuse, and so you are just being transphobic. That's really the argument that people are making. If you are attracted to someone and you want to date them, and then you don't the second you find out they're trans, that's where the problem lies. If you reject them just because you don't like them, fine, go off, who cares? It's really not that hard. You don't have to date trans people. Like, no one's making you. You really don't have to do that. You don't have to. They probably don't want to date you anyway, so shut up. And finally, we're going to end on a good note. This is the future that liberals want. And it's like women in latex and short black dresses and thigh-high boots whipping men to do their work for them. And you're totally right. This is exactly the future that I want. This is what we're actually aiming for. This is what we're working for. You've totally seen through us. We want women in latex whipping men to work for us all the time, always. No, absolutely. And I will not rest until the world looks like this. This has been my video. I hope that you have enjoyed. Facebook is a place with people, and I do not intend on logging in anytime again soon. That's something, sorry, speaking of Facebook, I don't know if this is still a thing. It probably isn't, but I'm old, right? 22. And I remember when Facebook first became a thing, and, you know, the internet and social media was still like relatively new. And when I was 10, all my friends started making Facebook pages, and everyone was very like cautious of it at the time, or parents were. It was very much like, if you have a Facebook page, it has to be closely monitored by me. Don't accept anyone that you don't know. I will be keeping an eye on you, making sure that you're like being safe. you know, strange danger, that kind of thing. And you weren't allowed Facebook until you were 13, right? All my friends had Facebook, and I begged my mom, and she finally gave me Facebook after like so long of being like, but my friends have it. I just want to play like Farmville with my friends. And so I got a Facebook, which was great. And so then our whole class had Facebook. This was in 2010. We were all 10. And then a special assembly was called in the library at school. And we got sat down, and it was, raise your hand if you have a Facebook. And no one raised their hands because we knew we weren't allowed to. And they were like, okay, well, if you are under 13, which all of you are, this is primary school, and you have a Facebook, you need to delete it. You have to get rid of your Facebook. And obviously no one did, but it's wild to me because absolutely I don't feel like that's a thing anymore. I don't know. Do they still have like special assemblies in primary school to tell kids to not have social media? Or do they have like assemblies to tell kids how to be safe on social media? Because we didn't have that. We were just told to not have it at all. But then I remember, obviously you had to lie about your age to have the Facebook, right? And I remember everyone on their 13th birthday, like counting up to their 13th birthday, you're like, I get to change my birthday on Facebook. I can finally be my real age on Facebook. And then on your 13th birthday, you finally get to change your age. Like, guys, I am now old enough to have Facebook. And it was like such a big deal. I was like, on our birthdays, like the first thing we did when we like woke up when we turned 13 was to change our age on Facebook. Oh dear. What a time. What a time. Anyway, that was my fun little story that was totally irrelevant, but I was talking about Facebook. This whole video is about Facebook, so it was very relevant. I hope that you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you would like to see next. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I always forget to ask, but I appreciate it greatly. About 50% of you aren't subscribed, so if you are one of those 50%, I'd appreciate it. I'll love you forever. A massive thank you to my Sprout and above patrons, whose names are up on the screen right now. And a huge thank you to my Kiwi Cat patrons. Wolf, Toulouse, Bobby, Sparrow, Josh, Mandy, Robbie, Silly, Ikazel, Robin, and Resendo. I love and appreciate you guys so, so much. Thank you so much for joining. If you would like to become a patron, it starts off as little as £1 a month and you get my videos a day early. And from there, you get more and more stuff. And I would love to have you. Literally everything counts and I appreciate it greatly. Don't forget to subscribe to my second channel, Kiwi with a Q. Follow me on Instagram, The Queer Kiwi, and Twitter, That Queer Kiwi. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe. Keep fighting. I love you. Mwah.